Hey everybody, we are live. So we are in our Make Life Delicious VIP community, and I have a special guest on, and we're starting a few minutes early. So we're going to allow you to just jump in to the Make Life Delicious group. If you want to comment, if you would like to share this video. We're going to talk about the gut-brain connection and the power of love. And welcome, everybody. So my name is Tina Hong. I'm an executive health coach, and I work with busy professionals, leaders in business, and CEOs of households to make life more delicious in your midlife and to attain superior metabolic health by reprogramming your mindset, habits, and nutrition. And I am declaring February as the month of love. And today I have a very special guest, Jackie Castro Cooper, joining us today. Welcome, Jackie.
Woohoo! I am so honored. The month of love. This is my month of love too. I love that you coined that beautiful month for you. I applaud you. Yay!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Jackie. You are the coolest. And I want to tell you guys how we met. But before I do, let me just tell you a little bit more about Jackie's background. So Jackie is one of the first holistic alternative physical therapists in the US, the first alternative physical therapist in the US. And Jackie has owned a thriving practice the last 15 years based out of the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. She is a professional speaker, a business consultant, and the author of The Power of Self-Care, Self-Love, a physical therapist's guide to evolving into your higher self. And so I wanted to tell you, it was love at first Clubhouse talk. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Clubhouse, but basically I joined a couple of weeks ago, or maybe not even a whole month ago, really. It's been pretty recent. And Jackie and I met in her room called The Power of Self-Care, Self-Love. And we have been sort of collaborating to spread the message of holistic health and to create a movement of self-care. And I'm supporting Jackie's movement of self-care and self-love. And she has so much knowledge to share with us. And I really found Jackie to be aligned in my purpose and the work that I'm doing with helping people in their midlife really prioritize their health. And so I really find Jackie to be an inspirational leader in the wellness space. And she is enjoyable and super knowledgeable and is a rising star. So thank you so much. So you guys, hey, Laura Beth. Yeah. So just wanted to share this discussion with you. As you are all rolling on, please let me know. Make some comments in the comments section. Tell us you're here. If you are going to make a comment, just approve StreamYard permission to make a comment so that we can see who's on. And also, we're streaming into the Make Life Delicious group page right now. So those VIP members of my tribe, this is where it's at. So we definitely want to make sure that you get clued in with this. So Jackie, do you want to say anything to our audience? You want to share anything? Give us words of wisdom before we get started with the Q&A?
Yes, well, I am so grateful to be here. I am honored to have been invited by the incredible Tina Hong. I mean, when she asked me, I was like, what? You want me to speak in your podcast? Oh my goodness. But before I say anything else, Tina, can you tell me how you became a health coach? Like what moved you into the path? Because I'm very interested in your path and all your clients, where you're taking them, but I want to know where the start was.
Right. So basically, I was in corporate. I was in business consulting, doing all kinds of stuff. Actually, the last company I ran was an herbal pet supplement company in Massachusetts, believe it or not. I
Wow.
was working with acupuncturist and a business partner, and we had developed formulas for pets and natural herbs like TCM and Ayurvedic herbs that were formulated for pets. Actually, that was my previous business, my last business. And then basically in early 2000, in the like 2004, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And at that time, basically, it was pretty serious. He had a whole Whipple surgery. I don't know if you're familiar with the Whipple surgery, but it basically is cutting into all your digestive organs, your pancreas, your liver, small intestine, your large bowels, um, and your liver. And he had bile duct cancer, a tumor in his bile duct.
Mm.
And um, and so, I grew up as an immigrant family, and he had to work really hard all his life to get where we were at in terms of our family. And I was the first generation, first English speaking generation in our family. And so it was tough, but basically, where I really found health coaching and the pivot was for me was after 10 long years of working or coordinating my dad's medical care at Sloan Kettering Hospital Cancer Center. I really there's so many stories, but essentially, I I just felt like this is not fair, and this shouldn't have to happen. And whether cancer comes, it's environmental, it's stress related. It's not just DNA. It's in epigenetics, and I know, Jackie, you could tell us all, you could speak about that all day long, but basically, you know, it was environmental, it was stress related that this happened. And so I really went on a passion, and I saw a lot of suffering and basically the fragility of life in my dad's 10-year journey with cancer. Um, and he had the will to live, but his body did not, and the cancer eventually took over, and he passed away in 2011. And during that time, it was a period of grieving even while he was living. And I said, coming out of that, wow, I ended up going to do a corporate job just to get brainless, like, grieving done. And I was traveling 50% of the time. And essentially, I came out of that and I said, you know what, I have a bigger purpose. God is calling me to do something much, much bigger.
Mhm.
I felt it. I felt it in my gut, in my heart. And, people always said to me, like, you are destined to do something big, and I said, yeah, I want to share this passion with the world. And I want to help people turn their health around before it's too late. And so
Yeah.
that really embarked on my journey as a health coach, and helping people change their health markers and lose significant weight, up to 100 pounds of body fat, and really change their whole disposition, not only like physical disposition, but also emotional disposition. So it's been super rewarding for me. How about you, Jackie? Tell us about you. We want to learn more about you. What was the pivot point for you, and what's your history?
Well, thank you for telling us your story, because I think that all of us, we are where we are supposed to be right now because of the pain and the struggles that we have endured. And so, you wouldn't be the amazing health advocate, nutritionist,
Mhm.
coach that you are if you hadn't gone through those 10 years of severe difficulty. But yeah, so I guess for me, becoming a holistic alternative physical therapist was really because my I was healing myself through multiple injuries throughout my life. I was a ballerina, and then I went into musical theater. I was in New York City, and I had multiple injuries. And then I gave birth to my first child, and couldn't walk for 3 months after that. And so physical therapists were the ones who got me through my whole life. And I always said, I always wanted to be a physical therapist, but I always thought I wasn't good enough and I wasn't smart enough.
Mm.
So I talk about that in my book, actually. And so lots of pain in my life brought me to where I am today. Physical therapy school is fantastic. I got my master's in it. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, we dissected the body, we dissected the brain. I mean, a wealth of knowledge, but exercises and the things that we learned in school only take you so far. So that's why I liked you, Tina, because you work with the mindset. It's not just about putting people on certain, food plans and things like that and getting them to exercise. It's about what your thoughts are. Where are your thoughts? So that's why I do what I do, because I really feel that pain is not just physical, it's emotional and it's spiritual as well.
Absolutely. And I loved our shares on Clubhouse this morning about, physical pain and just even hugging, and
Mhm.
how our presence with each other or presence with someone who may be suffering actually can mean so much in terms of healing. And so, yeah, there's a whole quantum physics, amazing realm of healing and intervention that can happen before those prescription drugs, before those surgeries. So I'm truly an advocate of that, and I know you're aligned to the same similar thinking. So I'm so grateful for that. So,
Thank you.
so Jackie, I was really fascinated by so it's so well. Tell us a little bit about, I was fascinated by your online course, Back and Pain, Neck Pain Relief, and the demonstration you had on your website. And if you could just kind of say your website, because I forget the URL, but basically tell us about your magic sauce with physical therapy. What do you do that's different than most physical therapists out there?
So my patients, the past 15 years, they come in with, let's say, back and neck pain, because that's what my online course is about. And you can go to it. You can actually see the video. It's a free little demonstration on how you can treat your back pain by doing a clockwise abdominal massage. So you can go to youcanheal2too.com, and you can see that, and that'll take you to the course as well. But so the question is like, oh, what about the massage? I realized that my patients were coming in with this inflammation in the gut, and we don't get taught about massaging or treating the abdominal region in physical therapy school, because that's not a muscle, but we do have several muscles there. And I was just like, I was very curious. I was like, most of my patients are not having a bowel movement either. So they come in with this heavy belly, and
Mm.
it's not that they're overweight. Some of them are, yes, but not all of them. They just have this inflammation. And then I would like touch their stomach, and then I would realize, oh my goodness, they're carrying like a bowling ball in their belly. And I remember when I was pregnant, my back was killing me. I was carrying a baby in my belly. My back was hurting, and I was like, wow. So there's inflammation. And then I started asking the question, are you having a bowel movement every day? And they would laugh. They're like, are you kidding me? I'm on so much medication. I'm not even having a bowel movement. I haven't had a really good bowel movement in years. And then I was like, wow. So I started to kind of Google like abdominal issues and things like that, but nothing really said that it was connected to back or neck pain or arthritis or even anxiety and depression.
Mm.
That's a fascinating thing. So I'm so glad that people are watching this, because they're saying now that 60% of people who are suffering from anxiety are not having a bowel movement. You
Wow.
know,
Wow.
so so
Mhm.
that
I believe
so
that. Yes.
There are things, and that's why I'm so fascinated by the work that you do, because you're helping people not just lose weight, which is fantastic, but also you're changing their mindset by the elimination process, right? The major way to get rid of toxins in your body
Mhm.
is through having a bowel movement. And there are countries in the world that have a bowel movement almost after each meal.
Mhm.
We're lucky in the United States. If we have one a day, that's a big deal. That's like, yay. My patients come in and they still do not have a bowel movement every day. And I'm like, well, did you discuss that with your doctor or physician assistant or nurse practitioner? They're like, oh yeah. They're like, they're okay with it. As long as I poop every 2 or 3 days, they're okay. And I look at, and I just like,
Oh my gosh.
oh
Yeah.
my. And then my question is this to everybody. If
Mm.
you had a baby and that baby just pooped in the diaper,
Mhm.
you would not wait a day or two to put
Exactly.
that. Why? Because the skin becomes irritated. Then it literally burns the skin. That's exactly what's happening to our intestinal system. We've got 25, 27 feet of intestines. And if our poop is hanging out there, it's literally destroying the gut lining, the wall. But
Mhm.
what's there?
Mm.
What's so important about that? That has 90% of our immune system is in our gut mucosa.
Right.
That,
Right.
that to me was shocking. So
Mm.
now I tell everybody, please tell your doctor that I respectfully disagree and
Mhm.
that your pain is coming from the fact that you're not having a bowel movement, that you have severe inflammation in your gut, and it's affecting your brain. And
Mhm.
they literally go, what? And
Yeah.
so, but I have to be respectful of the medical practitioners because not everyone knows that. And so that's why I tell all my patients, tell your medical practitioners that yes, you're supposed to be pooping every day. And
Right.
how can we poop, right? And
Yeah.
this is your world.
Mhm.
Drinking more water, increasing the water. I don't like water. I hate water. I'm like, okay, I totally understand. Throw
Mm.
some strawberries in there, throw some blueberries, put a
Mm.
little actually, I don't know if you promote this or not, but just having some water, room temperature or warm water in the morning with half a squeeze of lemon in it, that gets you going as well. Very healing. Do you say that to your clients?
Yeah, sure. Well, certainly a glass of water first thing in the morning, like full 8 to 12 ounces of water is super important. And, you know, most people wake up and they go right into having their coffee. And we lose a lot of water in our sleep, actually, through
Mhm.
perspiration, through our breath. And believe it or not, we lose a lot of water during our sleep. And if you are waking up and first thing in the morning, you're, diving into that coffee without rehydrating your body, you are really doing your gut a disservice. And so, yeah, I recommend, like I talk about poops and elimination all the time with my clients. And most people are not eliminating. You're right, Jackie. And the poops, the elimination is a main indicator of how they are doing with their health. It really is a major indicator of how they are doing with their health. I mean, we talk about the consistency, the form, the frequency, all of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we do not want to be having those toxins in our system. And the elimination is just as important as, eating healthfully.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And one more thing, you got a bowling ball in your gut, you're not pooping, and you've got inflammation. Inflammation just doesn't stay there in the gut. It goes throughout your whole body. So if
oh,
you're having arthritis, and all that, that's coming also from the gut. But specifically, your belly is directly in front of your low back region. So
mhm,
once we get that inflammation out and you start having regular bowel movements, then you're able to actually take deep breaths in a little better, and your back starts to hurt less because there's actually nerves that are coming from your spinal cord into the abdominal region. So if there's inflammation, the nervous system that's connected to your back is going, hey, there's something going on. There's severe pressure, severe inflammation. She hasn't pooped, and probably she's a little stressed out, anxious, maybe depressed, or he is, and your back is going to be sending signals of pain. So I wanted to add that.
On top of that, in the midst of COVID, people are not moving their bodies. They have their butts in their chairs like majority of the day. And when we move our bodies, when we actually create some movement, get some blood circulation, drink hydration, all of that stuff is helping our bowels move, right? So
Yeah.
so I love the poop talks. That's so great. But yeah, essentially, elimination of processed foods and toxic chemicals in our foods are very important. So if you're not eliminating your bowels on a daily basis and you're having significant amounts of processed foods and artificial sugars and other chemicals that are hidden in your foods, in your packaged, bottled, wrapped kind of foods that are convenient, basically that is living in your system. So imagine it's like a stew fest of pre-disease.
Mm-hmm.
So it's certainly really important to actually eliminate. So so Jackie, tell us a little bit about the mindset. Would you mind talking to us? I mean, I love what we're doing in Clubhouse in terms of the power of self-care and self-love. We are creating a movement, and you are inspiring so many people. It's amazing. And if you guys are on Clubhouse, go to the power of self-care and self-love. And I am a co-moderator, and Jackie leads, and she just does such an amazing job in the room. So definitely check that out. But so tell us a little bit about the beliefs that most people have about chronic pain, and in terms of healing their bodies and their mindset. What's the connection? What's the connection between our mindsets and healing chronic pain?
Yeah, so chronic pain, and to define it, it's like pain that's been around for a while, maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years. For some people, it's been around for 15 or 20 years. I find that very common in women because we're caregivers. We have to care for our families and our children, maybe also people that are suffering, right? And in our immediate family or in our community, we're a caregiver. So we just ignore the fact that we're having pain for years and years and years. So chronic pain starts to break you down, though, emotionally. And that's really tough. So regular physical therapy doesn't really address that so much. And so that's why it's important for us to kind of go into what our thoughts are. So that's what I do. I kind of ask people, we can ask everyone who's watching this right now, how are you feeling right now? What are your thoughts in this very moment? Are you very tired? Are you exhausted? Those are words that are important because it's your body's telling you that. Are you not sleeping well? Maybe that's why you're tired, but also maybe you're not getting enough circulation into your extremities. A lot of people are tired at the end of the day because their hands are red, their feet are red, the circulation is not moving around because we're sitting. We're actually sitting all day long in front of a computer, or maybe we're here with our phone. So we're creating tightness within our body. We call that fascial restrictions, because I'm also John F. Barnes myofascial release therapist. So I work with the connective tissue of the body. So chronic pain starts to shut down. It starts to shut down certain areas that are not getting sufficient blood, and blood carries nutrition and oxygen. So that's sometimes why we get tired. But also chronic pain can linger and touch other areas. So you'll sometimes start with pain in the neck region, and then all of a sudden you'll start to have pain in your hip or pain in your knee. They are not disconnected. They're connected. Everything is connected. And your thoughts are very, very important. So having fear, anxiety, anger, frustration, depression, sadness, grief, shame, and guilt, they're called lower vibrational frequencies, right? So there's an awesome book that I will ask everyone to please get. It's called Power versus Force, and it's by Dr. David Hawkins, and he has a map of consciousness. So the body not only doesn't like when we're in fear, anxiety, and depression and so on, but it also doesn't feel that it's true. Like that's not real. That's not where I'm supposed. Your body is literally telling you, my neck is hurting because I'm not really happy right now. So
Yeah.
that's why I work a lot with my patients. Changing our thoughts will actually target chronic pain and make you feel better. So what are you thinking? How are the writing things down, feeling your emotions deeply. I'm not telling you not to feel. I'm telling you the
Mhm.
opposite. Feel all your emotions.
Mhm.
Don't run away with them, run away from them because they will hide within you. We're
Mhm.
going to hide that we're unhappy right now in this situation or in this relationship, but we're also not changing anything, right? So our thoughts have to change. That's why I'm a big proponent on self-care, self-love. And that's why I wrote the book, because that was the commonality for my patients with chronic pain. They were not caring for themselves. They
Right.
we are all going like robots throughout the day. We get up, we do this, we go to work, or we don't go to work, or we sit on the computer, or we watch them. We do the same thing every day almost, and the body is telling you, it's speaking the language of pain, saying, please pay attention to me. Please go outside and forest bathe, which is what Tina taught last week. Go into the forest. And if you don't have a forest, if you're living in the city in an apartment, open up your window, go see if you can see anything that's living, right? Or be.
Here's sorry to cut you off. Yeah, it's you have so many ideas for this. And I'm sure it's like jam packed in that book of yours, Power of Self Care. I'm waiting for my copy to arrive. It should be getting here any day now. But um, so that's interesting. This idea of how chronic pain, how our emotions affect our physical health. I remember after my dad died, my mother started having respiratory issues. She's never had asthma. She's never had any kind of, she's generally been healthy. I mean, she's older, but like never had any kind of asthma or breathing issues or anything like that. And for a period of several months, she just couldn't stop coughing. And this was way, way before COVID. It was back in 2011. But
Mhm.
essentially, isn't that interesting? But what I heard is that energetically, when we are grieving, it shows up in our respiratory system.
Yep.
You hear about that? Do you know about that, Jackie? Do you
Yeah.
know the science behind it or the thoughts behind it?
Yeah. The lungs metaphysically uh, express grief. So you'll notice that when you are experiencing grief, and also grief can also be a divorce as well, or a
Mhm.
separation from someone that's close to you. You'll feel
Mhm.
it in your chest. So yes, it's very, very common.
Yes. So, yes, the lung is Amy Yang says lung is an organ of sadness in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. And it
Mhm.
was so interesting for months, it was like probably 3 to 6 months, she just was grieving and so sad, and she was coughing and she couldn't breathe, and it was really disconcerting, but it's interesting because, even now in the midst of fear of pandemic, often I have clients that I talk to and I'm like, "Are you breathing?" And they're like, "Oh, geez, I kind of forget." And
Yeah.
so that power of breath and the noticing your breath is so important. It's so important. Um, so Amy Yang says Christopher Reeve's widow had lung cancer, but from not from smoking or pollution. Maybe from the grief, from the sadness, from all the. It's very traumatic to see your loved one be unable to care for themselves or be in such a disabled situation. It's harder for people that we love around us if we're in a position where we can't take care of ourselves. It's absolutely heart-wrenching. And I can speak for that personally with 10 years of dealing with stage 4 cancer, with my dad having stage 4 cancer. There's also another comment from Natalie, and feel free to type in your comments and questions because we can certainly do a little Q&A here. Natalie says, tired, fatigue, neck, shoulder pain. I am also diagnosed with scleroderma. So I have known people and clients who have had scleroderma. Do you treat scleroderma in terms of your physical therapy suite, Jackie?
Well, yeah, so definitely find someone near you that does John F. Barnes myofascial release, because the skin was considered the largest organ of the body, but now the fascia is. We have to release what is stuck within your body
Mhm.
physically, and then that allows energy to flow out and
Mhm.
move. So energy moves, the circulatory starts with, and you'll notice that your skin will get better as well. So definitely find someone near you. But yes, absolutely. It will help you not be so tired. And also there's emotions that are stuck there as well. So it's important for you. And tell me her name again, Tina.
Natalie, Natalie.
So
Mhm.
Natalie, if you can, and all of us can do this, grab something to write on right now or after we finish, and just start to write what you're feeling. What are your thoughts right now? How do you feel having this problem with your skin, right?
Mhm.
We call it a tissue issue, and we move away from being married to the diagnosis.
Mm.
So instead of calling it scleroderma, let's call it a tissue issue of the skin.
Mm.
We can start to disengage ourselves from owning what someone else has given us as a disease. So, in the medical field, we have to call that, we have to diagnose, because, or I don't, but doctors do.
Mhm.
Because they have to, it's for insurance purposes as well. And also, we want to understand what this is, right? But then after that, we don't have to marry it. Like, people come in and go, "Oh, I have the sciatica." I'm like, well, we're not going to talk about sciatica anymore. Now we're going to talk about this pain in your butt. It's a tissue issue, but we
Yeah.
don't have to label it.
The other thing is I actually used to make bone broth, like homemade bone broth for many of my clients actually in New Jersey. And I had a client who had scleroderma very severely actually for many, many years. And her hands, like basic scleroderma, for those of you who don't know, basically you lose skin tissue and your skin tissue starts shrinking. So your hands feel tight, your legs feel tight, maybe even your jaws and your whole, you're basically losing skin tissue. It's being kind of eaten up. Okay. And she started bone broth on a weekly basis. And I said, take this bone broth. You don't have to make it into soup, just literally drink it as a supplement. And bone broth, just natural bone broth, whether it be chicken bone broth or beef bone marrow broth, it basically helps with the immune system because of all the minerals and the magnesium. It was grass fed, really clean stuff. And she said she couldn't live without it, honestly. She said, "Oh my God, Tina, I can actually move my hands because
Mm,
it gets so severe where they can't even clasp the door handle." Um,
mhm.
whether, opening the door to their home. So, I don't know, Natalie, how severe your scleroderma is or whatever, but you may want to consider bone broth, making your homemade bone broth. That is like just natural, traditional foods that can really heal your body and that is missing in so many, traditional diet is missing in our diets today you know, because of convenience. And if you can get back to traditional foods, it actually can be super healing in terms of all the minerals and natural vitamins and antioxidants in bone broth. But it's an amazing, and collagen. And you need super collagen, especially if you have scleroderma. So that's something that you may want to consider. So anyway, so what else? So let's talk about your book, The Power of Self-Care, Self-Love, and what is this movement that you're interested in creating? And how can people utilize this information for their daily lives?
So I noticed the past 15 years with my patients, when I started to make recommendations on, okay, what are you going to do this weekend for fun? They're like, oh, I'm not going to do anything. So when I started asking them, well, is there any way you could take a walk on the beach? Is there any way that you can go buy yourself some flowers? Is there
Mhm.
anything that you can do that can you lay on a hammock outdoors? So introducing it, but it had to be things that they really, really loved to do. And
Mhm.
once I noticed that they started doing those things, they started to also feel better. So not just the treatments, but also their thoughts. Like where were they thinking before? They weren't thinking about doing things that they loved. They were just thinking about going through the day. So that's why I started to write the book, because in the book, here it is. It's the Power Cell Carousel. I want to show it to you because I just love the cover so much. It was a lady from Canada. Her name is Daria Dicelli. I kind of stalked her for a year, and I just want everybody to see themselves in front of the book and to remember that giving yourself the gift of caring and loving yourself is what your body's asking you to do all the time. And I talk about a proverb that says, you are a house with 4 rooms. 4 rooms. The acronym is PIES, because we all love to eat pie. So the first one is P, which is physical. The second one, intellectual. The third one is emotional. And the fourth one is spiritual. So the proverb says you have 4 rooms, but they have to be aired out and opened every single day. So in the book, I go in depth into, all that. But basically, just for our purposes right now, being physical means getting up in the morning, putting on some clothes, and walking out the door. It can be for 5 minutes.
Right.
For much longer, but moving the body in the morning, drinking your water first, peeing, eliminating, and then walking. Intellectual, reading something that's inspirational to you. That simply is just asking people, hey, what's some inspiring books? I'm sure, Tina, you have many. Mine is Dr. Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, all these beautiful people who write amazing books. And I just read a paragraph of it. You don't have to read a whole book. A lot of people are like, I don't like to read. And I'm like, I know, I was like that the same way. Just read like a sentence or two of a book that inspires you. And that creates that intellectuality of I'm learning something. Wow, this is really cool. I mean, what we're doing right now, we're all learning right now at this moment. And then the third room is,
I have like 3 or 4 books always. I'm always going through 3 or 4 books at one time.
Yeah,
I'm kind of a targeted reader that way. I rarely read a book from the cover to the end straight through. I'm constantly flipping through and just accumulating, acquiring the data that I need in terms of, content. Most of my books are self-help or nutrition books.
I know, me too. So the third room is the emotional room. So you want to write down in your journal how you're feeling, or you want to cry. Just sit somewhere and just cry. Go into your bed and just put the covers over your head and cry. We don't know why. Maybe it's the moon. Maybe it's someone said. Maybe it's how we're feeling. Whatever it is, just cry or laugh or scream. Roll up the windows in your car and just scream, or scream into your pillow. But feel those emotions, right? And then the last one is spiritual. So connecting with a higher entity. For me, it's God. For other people, it could be universe, divine, loving light, inner wisdom. Just having those 4 rooms and just airing them out. So that's pretty much. And it took me 10 years to write my book because I have a lot of evidence-based research in it.
Awesome.
So yeah, but you can get it on Amazon.
Yay. So definitely check out. Can you show the book again, Jackie? The Power of Self-Care, Self-Love. And it's on Amazon. Look at that beautiful cover. You guys should check it out. And also check out Jackie and on her website. And you can heal too, TOO.com. And we can add some links. I might have added some links in the description, but Natalie said, "Oh, Natalie, I'm sure we've met." She said we met a few years ago, and I'm happy to chat with you. And you wouldn't be dominating the conversation, but if you do have another question, just chat it in, and we're going to be wrapping up soon. But Natalie, let's definitely direct message me, and we'll set up a time to talk. And so if I can help you, but nutrition is so important, and physical care is so important, the intellectual care, the emotional care, all of this. And during this month of love, what can you do differently? How can you do things? How can you change your paradigm of health this month? Think about that. We are in the midst of COVID, and the choice is yours. Okay, the choice is ours, yours. It's our individual choice to choose how we want to live our best life right now. Because tomorrow may not be promised, and that's not to scare you or anything, but you just never know. You never know because it's out of our control, right? So, thank you, Jackie, for all this great insights. Do you want to add any last things before we close the conversation?
No, I just also want to offer anyone who does have any pain, like back and neck pain, that's what the online self treatment video series is for. So
Mhm.
that's about 20 videos. It's about 3 hours, but it's extremely helpful. So if anybody wants to check that out, youcanheal2.com or you can heal at teachable.com. I'm sure you'll put the link there.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Would definitely do that. So, those people who have been suffering with chronic back pain, they should go check that out. Basically, chronic back pain, or even maybe potentially digestive issues that have been ongoing. The digestive issues, you really want to take a look at your nutrition. But Jackie has a technique that might be supportive, that would be that could help you clear, and that's really, really important. Natalie has a question about whom should I try to contact for the fascia aspect, the myofascial release. Yeah.
Yes, so you can just Google John F. Barnes myofascial release.
hmm
And
And would she find that at a physical therapy suite or a massage center? Where can she find someone specialized in that in her area?
so the specialists can be doctors, nurses, chiropractors, physical therapists, occupational therapists, massage therapists, even speech therapists are doing it. So it's across the gamut. So it's specialized training that takes a long time. So if you can find one in your area, please go to them.
Okay, great. I hope that was helpful, Natalie. Thanks for chiming in with your questions, and everybody tonight. I just want to send you love. You guys have been amazing. I hope this was valuable to you, and I want to have more live interviews this month, and I have some more coming up next week, which I will be announcing soon. So where you will want to pick all of them up and have an opportunity to interact with others in my VIP community is tinyurl.com/make life delicious. And it's an intimate community to enable you to get free trainings, have the support that you need, be in a tribe of people who all want to live their best life right now. So, my name is Tina Hong. I'm an executive health coach, and I'm really super happy to be here with you tonight. And thank you so much for joining us, Jackie. You are just such an inspiration. And for those of you who are on Clubhouse, join us on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesdays. That's the schedule right now. Sunday, Monday, Wednesdays. Sunday at what time? What's the schedule, Jackie?
Do 4 o'clock Eastern on Sunday and then 9 a.m. Eastern Mondays and Wednesdays for right now.
Right, right. And it's super inspirational. And now, like, I'm in a cycle of it the last couple of weeks. Now I'm like, I really look forward to it. It's like so empowering, so inspirational, and people from all around the world join us. So it's truly, truly amazing. So thank you again, Jackie, for your wisdom and your leadership in the wellness area and for health and healing. And we just love you guys, and just be your best self and just own it. Be empowered to take your health back. We just love you, and happy month of February. See you on the other side. Have a great night, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.